Yeah.
And I'm committed to diffusing it and not harming anyone, and making sure that the safe space is still maintained, so that what Richard Rudd's talking about to me, for me, is like that safe space that you're creating around all of it.
Great. Well
I'll
done.
just chime in real quick. I missed the beginning of the conversation, but what's come up for me from what I've heard is that foundational structure of safety from Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And that's where I find we are all working to make stronger. And all the arguments that I've seen and heard and been experiencing like tie into that basic foundation of safety, you know, and not being able to understand how another person's conception of safety is totally different than, you know, each other, just based on our own upbringing. So I feel like bridging a gap, and if I tend to redirect the fact that you're just trying to be safe, I'm trying to be safe, like that's where all the conversations and conflicts is really originating from, that desire for safety. It kind of helps take a breath and say, okay, we are wanting the same thing. Then how does it work then?
It's great to have you back with us, Nefertiti.
Thank you.
You came back halfway through Marta's thing. So while you're still here, are you still there? Hello?
She's
No?
got her mute on.
Done again. Okay.
Maybe she can't hear.
Nefertiti, you've got your mute on. But the picture's gone too. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to text her quick.
Yeah. So when she gets back, maybe she can tell us what projects or what things are going on with her.
Yeah, but she really nailed it. That was, yeah.
For me, I was going to
bring it back to safety. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel unsafe.
So you've got to be the stronger one that can navigate those feelings of insecurity in others.
And I have references from my past where I've done that successfully. I just forgot that I can do that. Mike knows what I'm talking about.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. There she is.
Oh, you're back.
I heard you, but couldn't unmute myself. Yes.
Okay. So are we ready to move on to your projects, Nefertiti? What's going on with you?
For our next gathering?
For just any projects that you're doing, any challenges that you're facing?
Challenges. How to move by myself. I'm not. I've been moving, and it's one of those, it's really not a bad situation. However, I can hear the thoughts in my head trying to sabotage how well the process is going by saying, if only another person would do this, or if only another person would do that. And every time I hear those thoughts, I'm like, well, how is that even relevant if things are still moving in the direction they're moving to? Things are still being accomplished. There's not a time like crunch at all. There's just, it's happening, and let it happen. Challenges in communicating with people, just being present, and because I tend to look at the bigger picture and not get caught up in the but they're just, to me, situations that work themselves out if you just give it the space to do so. But I don't know, perhaps patience isn't always the funnest thing to sit in. So the fact that I've been in the process of moving for, I think, about 4 months now. My lease doesn't begin till December. And people are like, haven't you did that already? Aren't you done with that moving? And I'm like, no. I'm very slow and taking my time. And, you know, I get the keys. I was going to get them on the 15th, which is today, right? Today's the 15th. So I didn't get them today. And I'm okay with that because it's going to be 5 days away. I'm like, that's still great to me, but I've had a lot of, snickers and so my challenge has just been continuing on and being able to show up because I have a lot of other activities besides that, but that's my main thing going on is moving. And
okay,
like how to just show up and be present amongst everything else that's happening, knowing that I'm going to have a whole new world, new environment, new everything. I'm so excited.
cool. So you've got your plate full. So with me, there's a phrase that when you were saying about patience there, a phrase that I picked up recently, which I loved, which is patience is passion tamed. So that's quite a nice phrase. It's not boring at all.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I love it.
Yes, just contain it. So with me, there are a lot of themes that you're saying with the projects that you're involved in that are reflected in the stuff that I'm doing. So in terms of creating relationships and generative conversations, deeper conversations between people in the community, I had an idea that I wanted to do more of that, and also to link people in the community with one another, and to find out what was important to people. So I've had various conversations, and I've been dipping in and out of things that are going on. And like I said before, things didn't seem to be really integrating that well. Everyone seemed to be kind of doing their own thing. But just in the last week, I spoke to somebody else who has been doing conversation activities. So I'm linked with her so that some of the ideas that I've got about, because it's not a specialist skill that you need when you're having conversation, it's just that developing the curiosity and asking specific things that can dig that a little bit deeper. So it's great that there's somebody else who's focused on that. So I'm hoping to get that kind of developed in a way that it can roll and have more impact as a thing that's happening in the community, and it's a very important basis for building the foundation of other stuff. And then the other thing is that somebody came to our Green New Deal group who wants to bring together people who are really passionate about their environment, and they want to keep it just tidy and without litter and that kind of thing. So I'm going to work with her because she's very passionate about kind of marketing and websites, and so that's going to be a step towards us with her and another lady who wants to do mapping so that we can see who's actually there. So as a group, it's going to be easier to undertake the exercise of doing the mapping. But I want to take it one stage further than that, which is that we're going to, I would like us to come up with a project where we have a vehicle. So a vehicle in the physical sense of something you drive, but also in the sense of a way to do something, which is about listening to people's concerns, like consultation. And so what are the things that are going on with you in this neighborhood? What are you worried about? What are those things? And then kind of logging all that stuff somewhere, as well as giving some kind of a way that they can link up with other people who have a similar kind of concern going around, or a passion. So it could be about learning a little bit more about that, or it could be about doing something. And then if we had like an academic piece of work going on that's logging it all in a kind of some kind of systematic way, so that then we have a living research project that we can then work with the council to say, well, these are the things that people are concerned about or want to do or want to help with.
That partnership would be great. When you do form that, let me know, because I think the institute that I'm involved with would want that kind of research.
Okay. And there's another element to it, which is the creative element. So I want to contact my creative colleagues, because that's really taking off where I am in Coventry. It's like the lockdown and everything has just brought that out in people, that they want to express what's going on, and they've got time to do it, and it's just so much energy there.
Good.
And so I want to use that so that we can link up some of the themes and kind of translate them in creative ways, so to make them more visible and to embed some of those things.
That's
great. What comes up for me, Parmjit, is this is right up the transition town movement's alley too. So I'm looking forward to deepening my relationship with my friendships here in the local community with the transition town global community, because I think there's a lot of correlations there too.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't go in a straight line of, okay, I know this person and this person, so that means that this ought to work.
Right.
It doesn't kind of go like that. You've got to kind of jump around a little bit and think, oh, well, that didn't really work out. Then kind of rewind and talk to a few more people. But then the people you spoke to, last time, something happens to make it then gel better than all of this. So it's all very...
Yeah, you're describing exactly what my partner and I are experiencing with this one project, and I think it could even involve a lot of what you're doing, which is called Island Innovation. And since you're in the UK, you're technically an island, but we're discovering all these connections and networks with different people who have call themselves an ambassador of innovation, and a lot of it is dealing with certain large challenging issues like the sea level rising, all kinds of different things, whether it's the environment, whether it's affordable housing, whether it's think of any major issue or challenge that globally we're facing. But we found that connected with this sort of already established network called Island Innovations, and since my partner's on Martha's Vineyard, we've started to work with the founders. We're in a position where we might even get embedded into their summit for next year, because we have a creative process to help people and teams explore strategic frontiers, really, and what kind of opportunities they're seeing on these very interesting new strategic frontiers.
Ireland has been one of the first kind of regions to really get up and moving with transition town.
Oh wow, interesting. Good.
Yeah, but it's happening everywhere. And interestingly enough, I mean, it's interesting that it is the first, and then you've got Scotland as well, where that big event was yesterday that I was telling you, from the grassroots up, and that's a global event. And I think you'll find it's the kind of people on the outlying parts of society,
the outliers.
It's the Black historians that are pushing for justice around kind of social policy and what have you. Yeah.
Wow, exciting. I'm getting chills. That's good. Yeah, they're tapping into a future that's already here, really.
I'd also like to add in one thing too, because this is a project Nefertiti and I are involved in, which is coming up in early December as well. we're doing another performance of the Wizard of Iz, Not on My Watch Productions, and I think that's important to note here, especially on this recording as well, because it continues to explore, the healing properties of creativity, and of facilitating fellowship and facilitating conversations that really matter. So I just want to make a note of that as well, because I know Nefertiti's in the middle of her move, and there's a lot going on there. But we continue to deepen this ongoing project as well. We're making a lot of headway in the mental health community, especially in New Jersey. Hopefully, more into the communities within Pennsylvania soon. But I wanted to make a note of that because that's starting to spark a lot of forward movement and conversations around, the correlations between mental health and creative opportunities, creating opportunities with each other. So on response to the project front, that's something I wanted to make sure that we made a note of this too. And that's something that Nefertiti and I are directly involved in.
It's beautiful. I want to underscore something you said, Parmjit, too, for the recording, but grassroots type of movements or grassroots type of ideas is what's really being ignited and sparked right now. And some of the students that we work with at Brown University, the professor always talks about bottom up instead of the traditional top to bottom. And so in that same fashion, with the company that I work with, and I'm a partner in, we talk about working with people from the factory room floor all the way to the C-suite, and we're comfortable in working throughout that spectrum. And in fact, we have case studies that show that when you involve grassroots, different roles and functions that traditionally people would think of as grassroots in an organization, they're the ones consistently coming up with more insights, more ideas, and more concepts that they can implement.
Yes, that certainly chimes in with research that I've looked into that say it's not about how clever or intellectual people are, it's about how diverse your group is.
Yep, very good.
Yeah.
We just used a quote from Einstein. I think Charlie did. He said, "I'm not smarter than anyone else. I'm just more curious."
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're standing on is, working with people's curiosity, their imagination, their creativity.
Yeah. So
and again, it's that safe space, coming back to what Nefertiti was saying, when you create that foundation of safe space, people can become more creative, more imaginative when they know that, when they're in a group and they know that judgment has been deferred and they have that sort of freewheeling kind of like jumping into the abyss kind of attitude, and they're like, how about this? And no one pushes back on them and says, oh, that's stupid, or and everybody's like, oh yeah, that, and how about that? And we encourage wild thinking, just wild. It doesn't have to be feasible yet. We'll get to that point later down the road. But for, what we encourage is more of that like wild, unestablished kind of original kind of freeform thinking.
Yeah. Just push those boundaries and go crazy and say things, because I think the pressure to conform to whatever people around you believe is not something that you can necessarily see or touch or feel.
Yes. Beautiful.
So it's great just to take all your clothes off and jump in, not worry about.
You go.
Yeah, just go for it.
Now.
I love it.
A couple other projects. I'm definitely moving, and the coming here today making me think about all the things I'm involved with. It's like having to keep it. What is it called? Trying to not compartmentalize, because it all is inclusive and it's all relevant and feeds and sparks off of each other. the ideas that I have here today spark off the ideas that I have in other groups and conversations. I have been involved with an opportunity community for a couple months now, and they're very heavy into the spiritual nature of life and just different astrological stuff, astronomy, and sound healing vibrations. And so I like to listen and show up for that on Fridays. And there's another group of people who I've been involved with that it doesn't even feel like the whole time concept this year has flown by. Since January, I've been involved with a group of individuals that's a 1-year course, and it's going to be wrapping up in a few weeks. And I'm like, where the heck did the year go? So it's Thrive 365, and it's another spiritual modality that I've dived into. And I'm really looking forward to how this month of December is really a culmination of so much holding space and being present and just showing up, and no matter what, good days, bad days, however they've been filtered, because I've been able to realize that I come to the table with a filter, and then being in the presence of people such as you guys and the others in my life who don't judge me, or perhaps it's because I'm not judging myself, who knows, two sides of the same coin. It's more freeing to just be and know that it's going to work itself out. And like you said, the future is here now. So I've been very, very amazed. And December 3rd will be amazing, our performance with Wizard of Is. And then I believe that 5th is a Sunday that I wanted to dive into some different techniques about timing. I know I did the whole 7-day thing last presentation. I'm looking into a galactic calendar concept. I want to see if I can bring that forth in our next presentation, and just continue growing and learning and all that jazz. So it's really exciting.
Something I hear you saying, Nefertiti, which I think might be similar for all of us, is even presencing what we do to kind of get ourselves restored and back in our power. And of course, you remind me of that too, Parmjit, because I do love Richard Rudd's idea of the lost art of contemplation, and bringing that to the foreground again. And then even like yesterday, I was, I talked to Mike on Friday, and I was so wound up in my head about everything. And so yesterday I spent the day in nature. I just looking at the colorful leaves on the trees and taking photographs and just being with the little animals that I see all the way. I always find these little animals cross my path, and I have 3 cats myself, and just or I think that's I guess I'm saying this to say that to share with people, there is what we our own sort of unique perspectives and piece of the puzzle. But then also share how do we maintain a grounded sort of powerful perspective for ourselves, so that these things coming at us, these shots, so to speak, coming at us, don't keep us down. Don't how do we brush those things off, or how do we heal ourselves so that we can stand powerfully again?
I think what I'm getting from today is that the value of this group is more of like, let's plug in, we're kind of, we need a little bit of TLC, rejuvenation, and people that kind of see what we see, same resonance, to be able to rejuvenate, really. Maybe that's all we need to be at this stage.
I really do feel it. And that's why I show up. Like, I love that, Nefertiti. That's why I show up, wherever I show up, is because I'm getting that inspiration. I'm getting that high vibratory energy from all of you. It reminds me to stay there, and it helps me stay there.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. So for now,
it's fair enough.
Continue. Yeah, because I was like wondering if there's like a purpose that as four individuals coming together with our particular focuses, that it could turn into some kind of a service or thing, but it's not necessarily the case that.
Well, I'll remind us all as well too that we are role modeling fellowships through these recordings, and every time we meet, we're racking up the hours. And even though it's not apparent right now, but once the hybrid time bank gets rolling and we start accruing compound interest based on time and not on monetary capital, it's the long game is being played right now. The long game is being played. So, what this group represents to me is we are very successfully role modeling fellowship, and every moment, every minute, every hour that we log in there will make the difference. And I'm just gonna kind of plant that seed right now in everyone's minds that.
I love it, because it's really, how do you get to us? You're answering that, because when with this group, then I take us to another us and you're there present with me in that other us, and then back and forth. So really that is how you get to us, is these small fellowship groups. Very beautiful.
Well, it is 8:21. Parmjit, is there anything else on your itinerary that you would like to cover we don't have to break at 8:30, but is there anything else on your itinerary that you would like to address?
I don't think there is. I think that probably is going to do us as a session for today. So I hereby call our session to a close.
Okay, great. I'll stop the recording and then we can do a checkout.